Okay, welcome back to the Are You Strong show. I'm excited. Just for those who don't know the timestamp here, it's 8:30 Monday night in the USA in good old New Jersey, and I am speaking to an athlete who's on the other side of the world in Japan. So before I say his name, let me just tell you a little bit about him. He's a Jersey guy, went to Watchung High School, right? And went on to the Cornell University to play ice hockey, became the co-captain, of the team. But what I always like to point out for those that are consistent listeners, and I like to point out the academic side. This young man not only went to Cornell, which is Ivy League, not only played ice hockey, not only became the captain of the team, but was all academic in the Ivy League system, which tells you a lot about this young man. But then he went on to play professional hockey in 2018 for a couple of years in the US system, NHL systems, right? And then decided to go overseas in 2021, and play in a couple of different countries, and we're going to talk about that. But currently, he's playing for over in Japan, where it's 10:30 in the morning, tomorrow, that is, and for the Yokohama Grits. So welcome to, oh, also, and this young man is in the New Jersey Ice Hockey Hall of Fame. So welcome to the show, Alex Rauter.
Thank you so much, Jeff. That's a brilliant introduction. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a heck of an introduction, right? And you know, before I start hitting you with all kinds of questions, why don't you just tell the audience just a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, no, honestly, grew up actually I grew up in Chatham, so I think we got the Watchung High School is Tim Tedesco's
Oh,
high
that's right. You're right.
school.
I'm sorry. You're
But
right.
yeah, grew up in Chatham, but honestly I moved around a lot as a kid.
Maybe
You
that's why I said Watchung, because you moved around a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, definitely because of Tim. Yeah, I mean, I was a hockey nerd kind of my whole life. Like my dad played ice hockey, and I was born in 1994 when the New York Rangers won the Stanley Cup. And so
Okay.
my parents named me after Alex Kovalev, who was one of the famous Ranger players. He was Russian, like a very skilled offensive guy. So,
Okay.
you know, since with my dad playing, every kid, you want to be like your father. And so I took to ice hockey right away. I think I started playing when I was 3 or 4, and then yeah, it's taken me all over the world, and I've been very fortunate to meet great people and honestly travel the world and play the sport I love.
Yeah. Now, did your dad play professionally too?
He didn't play pro, but he played at Penn State. And so
Wow.
it was
Okay.
just club at that time. It wasn't D1, but then I think around like 2012, they got a D1 hockey program and it's been super
Okay.
successful.
Yeah, it's pretty big time there now, right?
Yeah, well, the guy who owns the Bills, I think it's Pagula, he donated a rink, and so they have like an NHL quality rink at Penn State now, and it's
It's
pretty
all
crazy.
it's all about the money.
Yeah, sometimes.
It's all about the money. Well, let me ask you this. You kind of just said it, but you said your dad inspired you to play ice hockey. Did you play any other sports?
I tried to. I mean, I do believe that like if you want to be a better athlete, you need to play many different sports. Like just playing hockey or playing like a single sport really isn't good for kids. And I see a lot of kids these days really hyper specializing. And so when I was growing up, yeah, we played baseball. I tried soccer, lacrosse, but actually I played a lot of inline hockey as well, like roller hockey.
Okay.
And so I think around maybe like 12 or 13 is when I started to be like hockey full time, like 12 months
Hockey
a year.
focused,
Hmm.
hockey specialist,
Yes, exactly.
right? So when did you realize that, hey, you know what, I can do this gig in college?
I think I always looked at college hockey as my kind of way out, like for me to
Mm,
have a successful life because my dad went to college, my mom, she went to secretary school, so they both didn't really even, and my it took my dad a little longer to finish college than he'd want to admit. But
it's okay. Hey, I say to everybody, hey, you're going to turn 30 years old one day. You might as well turn it. You can turn it with or without a degree. It's your choice.
That's great advice. That's great advice. It's true. But yeah, I mean, for me, it was like, it was my way out. It was my ticket to, having a successful life. If I can make it to college and get a great degree and play hockey, then maybe I can go pro and, make my living that way. And
Yeah.
so I'd say right around 14 or 15, yeah, there's a big hockey year. It's called like 16 and under, or U16. That's around sophomore, junior high school. And if you can play on, a super high level team in your area, like to call it AAA, like AAA
Yeah.
hockey. So yeah, I made a really good team in that age group, and we went to nationals, and we went to the finals. We lost in the finals, unfortunately, but that team, the North Jersey Avalanche, we had a couple guys make the NHL, probably a dozen
Yeah.
or so guys go Division 1. And so after that year, I was like, oh wow, like Division 1 hockey is what I want to do. And I didn't have any calls, or no one was recruiting me or anything, but I was like, I think it was at 15, I was like, this is my plan. This is what I want to do.
Right. At 15, you're what, 10th grade?
Yeah, 10th grade.
Yeah. So what was it like playing in those leagues with the younger guy, you're 13, 14, 15? When you're on those teams that travel the country like that, when you show up, you're like, wow, these kids are good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you guys are 13, 14, 15.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
talk about the difference between, what it's like to play just regular Chatham High School hockey,
Hmm.
right? Which to me, hockey's like, I don't know how you do it. It's like on skates. And
Hmm.
then play at that level, just at that age bracket. To talk about the
Hmm.
separation there.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, what I like to tell a lot of people is that, especially in youth sports, every experience is a positive experience. Whether you're the worst player
Mm,
on the best team or you're the best player on the worst team, it's really good to get all of that different kinds of experience. So yeah, like when I was growing up, yeah, you play on the 12 and under team, then the 13 and under. And so I kind of started out, as being one of the worst players on my team, but I was also on stronger teams. So, and as the older I got, I was getting better, and so was the team. And so that's the thing. When you're in the travel hockey, you want to kind of be in the middle. You don't want to be the best player every year. You're not learning anything, and you don't want to be the worst player every year because then you're not getting any ice time. And then on the
yep.
opposite side, like the high school hockey is very different because, you show up, you're a freshman and you're 5'2", 80 pounds, and maybe you're really good, but you're weaker than everyone. And those older guys who play varsity, juniors and seniors, like they're almost grown men, And
Yeah.
for me, that was so helpful for me because I got to do both. So, I'd be playing 60, 70 games of travel hockey every year, and then also playing the Chatham High School season, which is like around 30 games. So yeah, like those 3 years I did my first 3 years at Chatham, and those
Yep.
three were pivotal for the rest of my life because those are the years I really developed, like 14, 15, 16.
Yeah.
And it was great to play different kinds of hockey. Like obviously hockey is the same game, but the travel hockey, it's everyone's my age. And then in the high school hockey, I'm playing against older guys, playing against younger guys. And so it
Yeah.
allowed me to work on different things and try different things. Cause yeah, the high school hockey is a little slower, but it's more physical. Like there's bigger,
Yeah.
stronger guys.
I mean, you're literally playing more games than the NHL guys are playing.
Yes, correct. And I
A
don't
lot of
think
hockey.
I don't know how normal it is these days for kids to do both. Like I was super fortunate. My dad was an assistant coach at Chatham, and the head coach was Harvey Cohen, who was a legend in the game. Like he coached 40 years at Chatham and won numerous state titles. And so for me, I was lucky because I could do both. But I don't think
Yeah.
every kid has that luxury.
No. Now you said you played your first 3 years, at Chatham. Well, where was your last year?
So we won the state championship my junior year in 2011, and then I went to Choate, which is like a boarding school in Connecticut for ice hockey to finish up
Wow.
my high school career.
So what was that like to also now you're packing your bags, you're gonna
Hmm.
go up north, 4 hours or so.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna guess was it a boarding school? So you're in a dorm, you don't know anybody, you're not even supposed to be out of the house yet, but now you are, and you're
Hmm.
17 years old, turning 18. Talk about that experience. It's like to move away because you're committing to playing hockey.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah,
That's why you're doing it. So talk
correct.
about that experience.
Yeah, I mean it's back then. I mean, I think it's a little different now because there's a ton more travel hockey and there's a lot of focus on that. But growing up for me, that was the path. It was like you're the best player on your high school in New Jersey, and then you go to a boarding school where they recruit and there's kids from all over the Northeast, even the Midwest come over there. And then you go to junior hockey, which is like the third step, and then Division 1, and that's
Wow.
the path. And so my sophomore year, there was a bunch of, older guys and kids in my area who are, going to these prep schools and these boarding schools. Like Choate is really big, Kent, Deerfield, I'm trying to think. Avon has a great hockey program. And
Yeah.
so you have to get on it early. Like a big part of, I think, you're getting to these higher levels is you need to start preparing early. So my junior year, it's around maybe, yeah, the fall, September, October. Like I'm calling the coaches, I'm emailing the coaches of these programs, and I'm like, hey, like I want to play for your school. I'm really interested. What's the application process like? Like for me, both my parents were working all the time. And so they didn't really have time to help me with this stuff. And you're like, I'm a kid at, my day's over at 3 o'clock. Like I can do
Yeah.
whatever. And I have the internet at my disposal. So I was always like checking the stats, checking the scores, like where are the coaches going? Is this coach new? Is this coach old? Like how many seniors do they have? And so I kind of found out that Choate was graduating 7 or 8 players that prior season. And so I was like,
Mhm.
wow, that's a great opportunity for me. And they had 2 or 3 guys who were already committed to D1 schools and they were coming back. And so it's like, oh, wow, like they have great players coming back. They're losing a good chunk of people. I think this is the best opportunity for
Good
me.
spot. Now, do you think going away, I know playing at that hockey level for the boarding school is one thing, but what did you learn living away? Like you're a young guy, man, and you're out on your own now. Did that help you with the next level when it came time to go to Cornell and truly live in a college campus? Did that experience help you, or kind of do you think did it hurt you?
Oh, 100%. It helped me so much because, especially over there, a lot of the boarding schools, I don't know the politically correct way to say this, but there's a lot of wealthy kids there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kids who aren't there for sports. Like obviously the sports is high level, but there's so many kids who are there for theater and art or even just pure academics. And so you really have to focus and you have to be so diligent with your time. You can't be slacking off. And I think for me, like you said, going away and being on my own just taught me how to live my life. Like how
Yeah.
much effort do I have to put into this? How much time do I have to dive over into this? Like what do I have to do to be successful? And it's not easy. Like there's a huge learning curve because in the beginning, I remember showing up and being like, "Oh, this is awesome! I can meet all these people. We have this dining hall food whenever I want." And I'd be, having 2 hour dinners and 1.5 hour lunches, and then you go to bed and wake up the next day, and there are tons of homework that I'm behind on.
Right.
So it's really
Now,
important that you learn how to take care of yourself at that young age. And
yeah.
for me, the biggest thing was the balancing act of all of it, the diet, the sleep, the homework, the social aspect. Because,
Mm,
you don't want to be, the guy who's talking too much, but you also don't want to be the shy person in the corner. So I really feel the social aspect of the boarding school was so helpful for me.
yeah. Now, was the athletic side of it that much more, time consuming and pressurized as opposed to would it be in a regular high school at home?
I think so, yeah. Because a lot of the a lot of the point of going there is to get to that next level. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, like there's pressure every day. Like if I walk in and I'm on the first line on our roster chart, I'm like, oh, wow, this is great. Like I'm going to play a lot. I'm going to get seen by scouts. And then, there's guys on the second, third, fourth, and fifth line who want my spot, and
Yeah.
they're my friends. I go to class with these guys. I eat with these guys, but they want to they want to kill me in practice and
Yeah.
take my spot. That's their job. And
Yeah.
that's what they want to do because it's all a numbers game and a pyramid with the sports is where, where
Right.
the better guys advance. And a lot of that happens in the practice and the pregame and everything going into those games where
Yeah.
if someone is injured or they can't play or one guy makes one good play and he gets seen by the right guy, then that, he's making his college dreams come true.
Yep. Now, is the camaraderie the same there? Because in high school, you're there, you're on the same team year after year. You go to college year after year, it's the same guys. In the prep school, it's 1 year done. And is it the same type of camaraderie, or it's like, hey, listen, I'm here to compete to get something like you said before, then I'm out. So I don't really need to make all these buddies.
I'd say it's the better programs have great camaraderie. I mean, I
Yeah.
think if you have good culture, I think the success will follow that. And so that's the
Mm.
thing. I was fortunate at Choate. We had great team culture. The coach was awesome. The guys were awesome. And so, we would have a lot of fans at every game. And the students were very passionate about being good people and also, good teammates. And so that's why I was kind of lucky. Like I stepped right in and I had two great line mates and supportive teammates, supportive line mates. Honestly, like my roommate was awesome. Like everything for me really lined up perfectly. And so I was very fortunate. But I know some people at other schools where, yeah, like you said, it's just a factory. It's like
Yeah.
no one wants to pass. People just want to score. They want to get their points and they want to get a commitment, and then they're done. They don't care.
Yeah. I mean, I love what you said. Good culture. If you have a good culture, success will follow.
Hmm.
Can you talk about that a little bit? Can you talk about the culture of your team, maybe growing from high school to prep school to the college level? Because you played big time hockey. It wasn't like you're playing D3 somewhere, right?
Hmm.
You're playing big time hockey, and now you get into the professional level. Does the culture change, go up, down, different? Talk about that progression.
Yeah, I mean, I think culture is such a huge part of hockey. I mean, my coach at Cornell, Mike Schaefer, he was really good at instilling culture with a group. And the culture is obviously it's probably from the top down with the coaches, but the players and the captains, they really dictate the culture as well. Because every day when you go to practice, you can either get better or you can get worse, you can slack off. Like, not every day is going to be perfect, but you need people on that team and in that group to push it forward. Like, you want your best players to be the first ones at the rink, the last ones to leave, working hard every single drill, every single rep. And because those guys are going to make people better. The coach, yeah, he can help you, he can tell you what to do. But at the end of the day, the onus is on you to push forward and to get better. And so that's why I think at Cornell, we had a really good culture that way. Everything was super competitive. Everything we did, it was, we'll divide into little teams and the winners, get a prize, or the losing team has extra sprints or something. There was always something on the line that made people want to compete. And that made everyone, I think, a lot hungrier come game time.
Every time when you just said that, sprints on the line, I think of what's the movie?
Miracle.
Miracle on Ice. Do it again. Do it again. Do
Yeah.
it again.
Yeah, they,
You
they
know,
call that a bag skate, is when you skate so much you get bagged, which is just when you're exhausted.
now, does that kind of stuff really happen? Those kind of like, is that like almost like, okay, you guys screwed up. Like in football, it's gassers. You're going back and forth a million times,
Mhm.
And so when you saw in that movie, does that stuff kind of really happen? Okay, do it again. Keep going.
That was the most extreme case, I would say,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it definitely happened for us, like, because like I said, we treated every drill or every rep like it was a game. So,
Yeah.
we would have, we split into groups, whatever. Losing group has to go. Like those ones in the movie Miracle, they called them Herbies. And so it's like blue line back, red line back, far blue line back, all the way down and
Oh
back.
my
So it'd be like
God.
losing team has a Herbie or a suicide, whatever you want to call it. And so, yeah, we would do that at Cornell all the time, even at Chode and Chatham. Like, for me,
Wow.
it was good because, obviously some people are more serious than others, but like you said, if these kids want to take the next step, and if you're a high school athlete and you want to get to that college Division 1 level, you need to be serious about it. I'm not saying, do something mean to your teammates or, do
Yeah.
something, immoral, but I think it's good for them to know that, every rep is important and we're going to take it as seriously as we can.
You just said it. Every rep is important. And I think I'm not giving any of the lesser successful athletes any type of disrespect, but sometimes they're like, does this really matter? Does it matter if we do 10 versus 12? Does it matter if we do 15 versus 14? In reality, it matters.
Mm-hmm.
Everything
Mm-hmm.
matters, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
And
100%.
yeah, that's so important. And you know what? The winners, the leaders, when they take it serious, they're the ones that get to the next level,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Well,
So,
I do think it's really important too to work smart, not just
yeah,
work hard. Like, yeah,
right.
you could do 20 reps, but if they're not good, what was the point?
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. You know, so when you're coming out of prep school, right? That's your senior year in high school, right? Um, what's the recruiting process like? Was it stressful? Was it mentally taxing? Was it like overwhelming? Or was it like, I know where I'm going, they want me, and I'm going?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I believe the process, I would describe it as chaotic, just
Mm,
because, you know, I'm from New Jersey, I guess a relatively small town kid, you could say, and I didn't really know where I wanted to go to college. I didn't really know what I wanted to study. I didn't know what area I wanted to go to, and it's tough because you start playing your season and, you're in your senior season and you need time to tour these schools, talk to the coaches. And it's so hard to focus on, oh, I have this game Wednesday, but I have a college tour Thursday. I have a paper due Friday. Like it's actually pretty crazy how, no, I wouldn't call it stressful, but just how chaotic the schedule can be.
Yeah.
And so I remember as soon as I started my prep school season, maybe around October, November, that's when a lot of the Division I coaches started calling. And I had to get they called it a family advisor back then, which is basically an agent. And so
Okay.
I had to get one of those because, the non-Ivies could call you at a certain time, and then the Ivy Leagues could talk to you at another certain time. I think the rules have changed, but
Right.
at least for me, I think I probably had like 4 or 5 schools call me right away and who were super interested.
Did
And
Maine recruit you?
no, I wish.
No.
Maine was a very good hockey school. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I would have loved to go there. But that's the thing. I think at that time, yeah. So it's like November, December, it's Christmas time. And yeah, like the schools are calling, but I didn't have any time to go visit them, And like I was saying earlier, both my parents worked. And just with the prep school hockey schedule, we practice nearly
Yeah.
every day and we have 2, 3 games a week. So it was really tough for me to get a read on the programs. And so
Right.
kind of what I did was similar to the boarding school process, but yeah, I'm going online, I'm checking their rosters and their recent scores and how many of their alumni made it to the NHL. And kind of I did a lot of work myself and researching like the assistant coaches, where they played, where they coached, what their connections were. And you reach out to other players and other people. I remember trying to talk to anyone who was already committed, like other guys in my area. Because even back then, I mean, this is going to sound hilarious, but yeah, like Facebook was a new thing. And so, I could reach out to some random player, a random kid who just
Yeah.
committed to Cornell or just committed to a different school. And so, yeah, I remember I visited Princeton, Yale, Cornell, Quinnipiac, and Union, and also Holy Cross.
Okay.
And then, yeah, and then I remember, so yeah, like the process starts with, they call you and, they just express their interest. They kind of figure out if you're interested in them. And then you have to send your transcripts to make sure you can get into the school.
Yep. And
And
you and the schools you're talking about, you got to have super high transcripts to get in there.
correct. Yeah. So for me, at least back then, the SAT was out of 2,400. I don't know if it still is. I think it went back down to
I think it's
1,600.
back down to 1600.
Yeah. And so there, at least for the Ivies at that time, it was you need to have all B's and above, and you have to have a really good test score. So I think obviously if you had straight A's, you could have a little lower test score, but it was like you need to have B average or above, and then an 1,800 on the SAT out of
of
24.
the 2400.
Yeah, which doesn't
Which
sound that high, but I think if obviously if you're a little bit higher quality recruit, the number comes down a little. And if
right.
you're one of the last guys to commit Division I, then you need a super high score. Because I believe
Yep.
for the Ivy League, it's an average of your recruiting class.
Okay.
So say 5 guys go in for hockey to Cornell, they need the 5 guys to average around 1,800.
Yeah. Now, were you high up there on the 1800?
Kind of. It was like maybe like 1850. So
That's
yeah,
good.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know what it translates to, but yeah, but my parents are always harping on me. It's B's and above. You can't have a B minus. You have to have 85 or higher. And so
Okay.
I think that helped me at least, through my high school career into college, where they
Yeah.
were always harping on me to be serious in the
Yeah.
classroom.
So how did you come across, like, how did Cornell get to the top of the list? How did that become your choice?
Yes. And so after all those visits, and like I said, they start calling you, you send the transcripts, and you organize a visit if they're still interested. And actually, I really wanted to go to Boston College. So at
Okay.
that time,
Another big time school and program.
correct. Yeah. Boston College had awesome hockey pedigree. They're sending guys to the NHL. It's a great school, great
Yeah.
education. And then I remember they came to watch me once and they actually committed a guy I played against, like at a
Oh,
different prep school, like right away. And so it's like, oh damn, like they're probably not as interested in me as I'm as interested in them.
yeah.
And Cornell came to watch, and when I went to visit there, the Cornell Arena, it's called Lina, is unbelievable. Like it's
Nice.
yeah, 4,000 students. It's always sold out. They have a really good tradition of hockey at Cornell. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, when you go watch a game, it's unlike anything I've ever experienced, even in pro hockey. Like it's super loud, the
Now,
band
are the
playing.
fans right on, like right on the ice,
Oh
pretty
yeah,
much?
yeah, yeah, and it's packed all the way around. They
Yeah.
have the student band. It's yeah,
Yeah.
you get goosebumps when you walk out onto the ice every time. And so I remember like when I watched the game, I was sitting down in the stands, like after the tour and everything. I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. Like this is where I want to play. And
Yeah.
they won in overtime and everything was great. And I was like, okay, I could get used to this. This is pretty cool. And so then, and
Yeah.
they also have an awesome hockey tradition. Like they send guys to the NHL. Like I said, great school.
Yeah.
It was honestly everything I wanted. And a big part too is that they were really interested in me. Like they thought I could be successful there.
That's great. So what was it like, first day, freshman year, college campus, Ivy League, hockey player? Was it overwhelming?
Oh my God, you're so intimidated. I remember being like, these guys are on my team. Like I thought they were on the football team. Like these guys are ginormous because
Yeah.
hockey is a weird sport, or gosh, say college hockey is an interesting sport because you can start at 21, and then especially if you get injured or you can get a fifth year somehow. Like
Yeah.
there's guys who are 26 years old
Yeah.
playing college hockey. And so
Yeah.
I took 2 years off after the prep school to play that junior hockey, like I was saying before. And so I went in at 20 years old. And yeah, still like there's guys 5 years older than me. And I'm a pretty average guy. I'm like, 6 foot, 6'1", like 180 pounds. Like these
Yeah.
guys are like 6'3", 225. They can just bench for days. And I was super intimidated. And I was also just like in awe. I was like, wow, like
Yeah.
am I going to be able to hack it here?
Wow. So when did you realize? I asked this question a lot. When did you realize that I belong here?
Hmm, that's a great question. Uh, I think it was honestly probably towards like the middle of that season. So my freshman season was actually super challenging for me. Like obviously the academic side was a huge leap from high school and also the athletic side. And they call it being healthy scratched, which is, you're an extra player on the team, but you don't even dress in the game. So,
Yeah.
our hockey team has 25 total players, only 20 will put their gear on each game. So I was healthy scratched for probably the first like 10 games of the season. Like wasn't even playing.
How'd you feel about that?
I was pissed. I was really
Yeah.
mad. But also at the same time, the way I looked at it was that, you know, it's on me to change the situation. Like I
Mm,
realized I'm the only person who's going to get me out of this. Like I need to control what I can control. And ultimately, all I have to do is change one person's mind. Like if I can change my head coach's mind that I should be playing and these other guys shouldn't, then I'll get what I'm looking for. I'll start playing in the games. And so it took a long time. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it took like 4 or 5 months. Like it's September all the way through Christmas. I think I played my first game in a Cornell uniform. Yeah, and like yeah, right around Christmas or the New Year in January. And that's when I finally felt like I belonged. I was like, wow, okay, like I can do this.
once you put that uniform on, sat there on the bench with the guys, you felt like you were part of the family.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you're getting healthy scratched, especially in college, you're not even on the bench. Like I'm not even filling up water bottles. I'm not doing
Yeah.
anything. Like I'm in the stands with the other fans.
Yeah.
And as you know, in college, it's a slippery slope where, it's, oh, do you want to have beers after the game or do you want to go to this party or do you want to do,
Yeah.
and it's super easy, because most college hockey games you play Friday, Saturday, and most of the big parties are Friday, Saturday. And so
Yeah.
it's like, oh, do you want to come out tonight? And I find it's really easy for the scratches to just be like, oh, I'm not playing. Like this sucks. The coach
Yep.
hates me. I'm gonna go out and go have fun, or like,
Yep.
So for me, every Friday night, do I want to go out to the party? Yeah, of course. But there's a chance I might play in the game Saturday. So I'm
Right.
not. I'm staying in. I'm, maybe
And
getting
you don't find out till minutes before the game if you're a healthy scratch.
correct.
And I guarantee they do that on purpose to make sure you stay ready.
Correct. But, as some people know and are willing to admit, it's, you know, the coaches don't know what you're going to do. You know, you can go out or not, but you know, I think it's the more serious guys and also the people who really think they have a chance. Like I'm a big believer in you need to believe in yourself, you
Yeah.
know? And so every day I'm going into that game, like I expect to be in the lineup, you know? And some guys who don't believe it and they're like, oh, well, I'm probably not playing tomorrow. So yeah, I'm going to go have fun and go out on Friday night.
So what did you do to change that one mind? Your coach, your head coach, all you got to do, like you said, is change his mind. What do you think you did to get him to think, wow, this kid belongs out here with us, not as a healthy scratch?
Mm, Honestly, I think for me, I just started treating the practices as games. You know, like every single rep and every single time I had the puck on my stick, I wanted to make sure that I was doing something worthy of his attention. You know, like every time I shot the puck, I wanted to score. Every time I was playing defense, I wanted to break the puck out or block a shot or make a big hit. Like I was always, I started treating my practices like games, and I did really dig in because for me, I came in and I was kind of like weak and underweight, and so I had to start working out more. I had to start eating better. And also I just, you know, I needed to get more practice at that level. And so, yeah, like I
Yeah.
would, like I said, first one at the rink, last one to leave, spending more time there. And then I think after a while, he started to realize that I wanted this so bad, you know, like I wanted it more than every other guy on the team.
Yeah. Now, was there, I mean, you said what you're saying so many cool things I'm hoping people are listening to that I'm catching as you say them
Mm-hmm.
is do something to be worthy of the coach's attention. Now, you know as well as I do, the coach's job, he has one job, is to win.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all the things he does is a culmination of all the things that help him win. But his other job and his staff's job is every year is to recruit guys better than you.
Mm-hmm.
His job is to find guys that are better than the guys he has now. No matter how much he's committed to you, if he finds someone better, guess what? He's showing up on the ice and you're not. So
Mm-hmm.
so what do you think you did, to make it worth it? Because there must or was there frustration? Like, what do I have to do to get this guy to notice? Like, what else do I got to do? Did that ever happen?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I think a really good piece of advice for younger athletes is you need to find what you're great at. You
Mhm.
know, you need to find your niche and you need to, you know, like you said, you need to be better at it than anyone else. And obviously, yeah, that's tough. Obviously, that's kind of a vague thing to say, but you know, you need to find what makes you great and you need to do it all the time. And so for me, like when I'm playing at my best, I have a really good stick. And so when in hockey, what that means is, you know, I'm breaking up plays, I'm stealing the puck, I'm holding on to the puck. Like I use my stick better than other guys.
Now, are you an offensive player or defensive player, or both?
Offensive player.
Okay.
Yeah. But also honestly too, that's funny you bring that up. I'm a forward, I'm an offensive player, but
So you're a goal scorer.
yes, but I'm also super responsible defensively. And so that was one of my things that helped me get in the lineup at Cornell was I'm going to break up a play, I can be trusted on the defensive side, and then I can go down and score. And
Okay.
so
Let me ask you something silly. Again, I know enough about hockey to be stupid,
no such
right?
thing as a bad question, Jeff. Hit me.
Right. But if you're a good offensive player, saying that I'm smart defensively, does that also mean like, hey, you know to get back when you got to get back as quick as you possibly can?
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's exactly it. Because since, you know, we have offensive guys and defensive guys, like, you know, like we have forwards and we have defensemen, but it's still five guys playing together, you know, and
Yeah.
sometimes a defenseman's going to lead the rush. And so, yeah, a forward needs to kind of hang back and cover back. And yeah, there's so many reads all over the ice that, you know, if you're more offensively inclined, you might cheat and you might try to, you know, score that extra goal,
Right.
but then you also can get hurt on the way back where if they score on the other side. So yeah, like there's a big part of hockey is that hockey sense, you know,
Yeah.
like hockey IQ where
Yep.
yeah, you know where to be and where to when to go there. And so yeah, like for me, that's what I did at Cornell was I showed my coach that I could be trusted all over the ice. And when I get a chance to score, like I'm going to do it. And a big thing that we did at school that I think some people might be interested to hear is that, you know, when say we're going to play Harvard or Yale the next weekend, and they have like an NHL, future NHL forward. Like Harvard had this guy Jimmy VC, and then we'd also would play the school UNH and this guy Tyler Kelleher, and we would practice their power play, which is like if Cornell takes a penalty, Harvard goes on the power play, and we call it mock PP. You know, so our Cornell guys would pretend to be those Harvard players, and I took so much pride in being on the mock PP because I wasn't even in the lineup, so I wouldn't practice power play for Cornell. I wouldn't practice the penalty kill against it. But when I would go out and pretend to be those other guys, like I really felt like I was those other
You
guys.
felt like you were them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so I'm like, oh, I'm going to embarrass these guys on my team. Like I'm going to score every time. And I did. I think that was one of the things that got me noticed was like I'm making our team look bad and I'm not even
On
playing.
the playing with them.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Mhm.
Now did you didn't go up to Maine to play against them at all or no?
Sadly, no. Like they're not in the like there's an Ivy League, but there's all some of the Ivies don't have hockey. So
Right.
the 6 or 8 Ivy League hockey teams play in a bigger conference called the ECAC.
Yeah.
And the additional schools are Quinnipiac, Union, Clarkson, and St. Lawrence. And then
Okay.
there's a Hockey East is where like Boston College, Maine,
Yep.
U.
Yep.
So yeah, that's a really good conference as well. But yeah, I
Now,
wish,
did you play against Caden or no?
yeah, because yeah, he was St. Lawrence, right?
St. Lawrence. Yep.
Yeah, so yeah, I think I did play against him 1 year. I think his freshman year was my senior year.
Okay. Yeah, he was, I've seen some tape of him. He's a pretty good player,
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, no, St.
you
Lawrence,
know.
they're really good hockey up there.
Yeah, and he's out with those knuckleheads tonight.
Oh yeah, playing beer league, it's fun. I mean, all roads lead to beer league.
Smoking Joes. So Cornell, what stands out as the most, hey, this was the greatest time of my years there. Any specific game happening, practice, party, something doesn't have to be hockey, or maybe
Mhm.
whatever. What jumped out for you?
I would say hockey wise, I have two super memorable moments. One, every season we would play one game at Madison Square Garden.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And so my junior year, actually, we were playing University of New Hampshire at MSG. And, I'd finally been like a mainstay in the lineup, like I'm playing every game. Because actually my freshman year, we go to MSG, I bring my family, all my friends. I didn't even dress. Like I didn't play in the game.
You were a healthy scratch.
Yeah, for the Madison Square Garden game, which is, it's so embarrassing. My family
Yeah.
comes and yeah, it's
Yeah.
awful. Flash forward 2 years, my junior year, I'm playing a ton, doing well, and same thing. I invite my whole family, and I get a penalty shot in the third period. So yeah, it's literally just me at center ice, 1-on-0 against the goalie, and 20,000 people in the stands, and I score the goal, and we
That's
win the
great.
game, and yeah,
Well, that's got to be sick.
the place erupts. Yeah, like all my friends from Chatham are there. Their parents, my parents. Like, yeah, it was the first
What a makeup
time.
that was for the first time when nothing happened.
Sorry,
I mean, what a makeup that is for the first time you were there. You were a healthy scratch,
big time.
right?
Yeah, it was a complete 180. Yeah,
Now, do you have that on videotape? I hope.
yeah. Oh yeah, it's on YouTube for sure. But yeah, like I just remember like just the roar of the crowd. You know
Oh
what I mean?
yeah,
Like you shoot, the puck goes in, you turn, and it's just so many bright lights and so
it's
many people.
bedlam.
Well, yeah, and all the faces like they just blur. Like I was trying to like find my family, but there's no time, and it's so. But it was so much fun, and even just to win the game was honestly the most important thing, and for
Yeah.
me. So that's why when we're done and all my friends come out and everyone's so we're just so happy, and
Oh
that's
my
what I
God,
remembered most.
that's when the parties are fun.
Yeah, exactly. And
You
then
know.
the second one hockey wise is the finals of our league, like the league playoff, you play at Lake Placid.
Okay.
Was the home of the 1980
Yep.
U.S. gold medal winning hockey team.
On the same
So,
ice. That must have been so cool.
yeah, yeah, and for that weekend, they invite a member of the 1980 team every year to come
Mm.
speak. And so yeah, we got to meet two really cool guys like each year that we made it.
Remember
Unfortunately,
their names? You remember which guys they were?
yeah, we had Steve Janiseg, Steve Janisega. He was the backup goalie. And then the next year, I want to say it was Rob Schneider who scored a really big goal. And so yeah, like it was so cool just to, meet someone with a gold medal and you get to talk to them
Yeah.
about it. And they were saying that the backup goalie was awesome. Janisek was so funny because he was just saying, you know, I'm the backup goalie on the team. I'm not probably not going to play a minute of the whole time. And so
Yeah.
he said he was in the Olympic Village every night. He said he met his wife in the Olympic Village.
All right.
He said he had a blast, and obviously winning a gold medal probably
But the
goes.
history in that stadium on that ice, just think of like, you can like feel it, I bet.
Oh, 100%. And it gets packed. Like, so many people go up there. We get a huge turnout from Cornell just because it's so close.
Yeah.
Ithaca to Lake Placid is an easy drive. And so yeah, I mean it was fantastic. Unfortunately, we lost in both finals, but
Mm,
it was still, just a privilege to be on the ice, and so many guys from that weekend, like those final games, like go on to the NHL. And so it was a lot of
yeah.
a lot of really good battles and a lot of stuff that I'll take with me for the rest of my time.
That's so cool. So how did you balance? I mean, again, I want to keep stressing the fact of the school you went to.
Hmm.
If you're just a traditional student, it's a tough ass school to graduate from.
Yes.
It's a
Hmm.
tough school just to get into, let alone graduate from. But
Hmm.
then you're going to throw college hockey, one of the most physically demanding sports that's out there, on top of it. How
Hmm.
did you balance all of that stress physically, emotionally, mentally? You
Hmm.
how the average guy can't do that stuff.
Yeah, it's obviously difficult. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Obviously time management's important and you need to do the work, but it's really the people who you surround yourself with, like
Mm,
I'm a big believer in like open communication, and also, you need to surround yourself with great people. And so, for me at school, like if I need help with a project, or I don't know what class to take, or I want to talk to someone about, the team or what's going on socially, like you need to have that support system built in, whether it's your family or your teammates or even the coaches sometimes. Like for me, I was always asking for advice or asking for help. Like, if someone understands, quantum mechanics better than I think it's important for them to teach me rather than me spend hours trying to Google it or trying to read the book. Like
did you
it,
actually take that class?
no, I didn't take that one.
I was like, wait a minute, I can't even pronounce that, let alone study it.
But yeah, you know what I mean. I think people
Yeah,
understand what I'm trying to say is that, seek advice and seek help.
yeah,
Like don't just sit there and try to, claw yourself out of the well. Like there's plenty of people who are willing to help you. And I think if you're, open and willing to help them in return, that I think it's very mutually beneficial. And so yeah, for me,
yeah.
it was always just who can I get to help? Like who knows this better than me? And also, I think I got lucky. Like I had 7 guys in my class at Cornell, like including myself. And so those 6 guys were awesome. We lived together for 4 years. We eat almost every meal together. I'm at the highest points and the lowest points with those guys. And so, they'll be my best friends, forever, just because of all the time and the work and, all the experience that
Yeah.
we went through.
Yeah. I mean, all the stuff that's coming out of your mouth, Alex. I mean, all athletes I talk to, it's lines from their coaches you've heard over and over and over. But what you just said is go to people who knows things better than you.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like some people have an ego and
Hmm.
they're not going to let that. I'm not going to him. I'll figure it out. Versus just go find someone who's doing it better than you and learn from them if they're willing to help.
Hmm.
Right?
Hmm. Yeah, and,
You
and I
know?
think that's part of also working smart and not just
Yeah.
hard, because you can save yourself a lot of time if
Oh my God. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. But how about as a school athletic program, in today's world, Alex, mental toughness, man, it's everything, you
Hmm.
know. Then there's mental fatigue, there's
Hmm.
mental struggles, so many guys, anxiety, depression, that kind of stuff. Was there any resources for the athletes from the school, the coaching staff that they provided for the guys who, hey, they just needed to talk to somebody professionally?
Hmm. I think Cornell had all that stuff. I mean, honestly, like I said, I had a great support system, so I didn't utilize it as much. But we always had like academic tutors, and we had
Okay.
academic advisors who would help you. You could literally go into them, open door policy, talk about anything, and the coaches. Like obviously the head coach gets a lot of credit at every program, but we had two assistant coaches, we had a goalie coach, we had a video coach, we had an intern, and we had a director of hockey ops. So we had a staff
Yeah.
of, and the athletic trainers too, and our workout coach. Yeah, we have a staff
Yeah.
of 8, 9 people who you can always go to at any time.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's super important. And the better programs have all that. But I do also think that, you know, the onus is on yourself, like only you really know how you're feeling. And so for me, I always tried to figure out, like, am I hurt or am I injured? Like, am I tired
Mm,
or am I just burnt out? Like,
yeah.
am I just feeling lazy or do I really not want to be here? Like you need to figure it out for yourself, because ultimately at the end of the day, it's your life and you're the only one who can change it. And so I always felt like if I knew what my body was feeling, then I could address it properly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you just said something. Am I hurt or am I injured? I know exactly what you're talking about. But can you explain that to the audience? Because there's some people like, what's the difference? Like,
Yeah, no. So if you are hurt, maybe you got a bruise or a sprain or torn something, you're hurt, but you could still play. And you could play to the ability where you're not going to use this hurt part as an excuse. Like if you're injured, you got a broken arm.
you're
Your
out.
ankle is,
Yeah.
you have a high ankle sprain. You can't walk. You
Yeah.
cannot play. And so, there's so many days in so many sports where, guys are banged up, guys are hurt, but they persevere and they keep playing and they keep working because they're not injured. If you're injured, you need to
Yeah.
take the time to heal. I think
Yeah.
a lot, especially when you get to the higher levels, at Cornell, we have an awesome training staff, like a medical staff who, they can massage, they have the cold tubs, the hot tubs. Like it's easy to
Yeah.
just go in and marinate in the, in the
It's like a country
little,
club.
yeah, it's like a spa. And it's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's great to have that, but you don't want to be the guy who's in there every day, like, just sitting with an ice pack,
Yeah.
taking up space when, someone's got a broken wrist that actually needs
Yeah.
treatment.
I heard, I forget where I heard this, is you can't win a championship in the hot tub,
Mm-hmm. Correct.
something like that,
Yeah,
which is so true.
that definitely sounds like a football mantra.
Yeah, I think it was, but a lot of the football guys like to hang in the tubs, you
No, that
know.
everybody does. I've yet to meet someone who doesn't.
Yeah. So playing hurt, I mean, and playing, I mean, you don't play injured. Like there's guys like in the real world, like they got this sniffle, and they're calling out sick,
Mm-hmm.
or I got a headache. I'm not coming in today. I'm like, what I find from athletes who we bring into our business,
Mm-hmm.
like Bill, who you just saw, and Tim, these guys are showing up, throwing up. You know what I mean? And I use that as a line. They're showing up, throwing up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And but when they're not here, like I know they're hurting.
Yeah.
Those are the times like you can't leave the bathroom type of thing.
Yeah.
And but most athletes we bring in, that's their mantra. It's like, hey, I'm just hurt. I'm okay, but I'm not injured. What's next?
Yeah, and that's that mental toughness that you're talking about. And
Yeah,
I think I started to learn that in high school. Then you go to boarding school, really learn that because, like I said, it's so competitive. If I
yeah,
take a day off because I'm hurting a little, someone's going to take my spot, and I'm losing that chance. And
yeah,
so and yeah, like I said, the onus is on you to know how bad is it. Like yes, obviously, if you need treatment, we're not saying don't go to the doctor, but what I'm saying is yeah, like some days you're going to be banged up. Some days you're going to be tired. But, if
yeah,
you really want to get to that next level, then you're going to be there and you're going to go to
yeah,
practice and go to the workout and you're going to show up to class. A lot of guys are like, "Oh, I'm tired. I should rest. We have a game in a couple days. Like I'm not going to class." And
yeah,
and for me that's not cool because I was always playing my best when I was getting the best success in the classroom. I find that they correlate, What you do at
what?
some
Yeah,
things is what you do at everything.
one thing motivates you towards the other.
Yeah, exactly. And
You
so
know,
it's like, okay, I got to get up early. I got to go to class. And then after that, okay, I can get a good breakfast. I can get a workout, whatever. But it's
yeah,
like, I wanted to be great in the classroom so that success was something I did at everything.
That's so cool. So captain, is that team voted, coach voted, or both?
Team voted, and
Oh
actually
my.
at Cornell the coaches do have a vote as well, but
Okay, but are is the team saying these are the three guys we want? Coaches pick them.
no, I mean I think some teams do it differently, but at Cornell it's a team vote, and then the head coach and two assistants also get a vote. So it comes down to like around 28, 29 people will vote.
Just think about that for a second. How good did that make you feel when you were voted captain of the team by your peers?
Yeah, it was really cool. I'll be honest, this is a pretty funny anecdote, but so on the team that year, I believe we had 20 27 guys, and then we had the three coaches, and then or no, sorry, we had 26 guys and three coaches, and
Okay,
then we named co-captains. So I was a co-captain with another player,
that's
uh,
great.
Mitch Vanderlyn. Yes, but there's an odd number of votes.
Well, how did that work out?
Exactly. I've been
The
asking
coach, the
myself.
coaches had to override something,
Exactly.
but
I don't
but
know
either
how it went. I mean,
way,
my co-captain was a phenomenal person. Mitch
all
Vanderlyn was
right.
my best friend's a great guy. He was very worthy of the selection. And, it was honestly, it was the best thing to happen to us because he was so great to help to lead the team with, like
Yeah.
being co-captains was great. But I do
Yeah.
always try to, get a chuckle out of those guys when I was like, well, we had an odd number that year.
Well, either way, to be voted captain of a college program of that magnitude,
Mhm.
that's something you bring with you forever.
Yeah, no,
You know?
it's a tremendous honor. And honestly, you know, people in the hockey world and most sports teams too, they talk about you play for the name on the front, not on the back. And so for me, like I took so much pride in wearing the captain letter on the Cornell jersey. Just so many great players come before me, so many people that take time out of their day, like volunteers who work at the rink, the ice staff, medical staff, like the security guards. Like there's so many people who go into that Cornell hockey tradition that make it so special. And so for me, I'm playing for something bigger than myself.
Yeah, that's it. So as a leader, right? I love to ask because I've interviewed a bunch of captains. I love to ask the question is when you see a guy not pulling his weight, what do you do?
I'm a very vocal person. I might talk a little too much, but I love to call it out. Like this is how I see it. This is what's going on. I'm like, you're not doing your job. And so I think it's easy sometimes for people to, turn a blind eye or, not address it. And for me, it's like, hey, we need you. We need you to be better. And I need it now. And so for me, I was always, I mean, I wouldn't call someone out in front of the whole group,
Yeah,
but for me, I think it's all those little conversations that you're having with guys like, hey, like, are you all right today? Like, I saw you do this, and that's not really how you usually play. Or like,
yeah,
hey, like, you're doing great. Like, keep it up. Don't change a thing. And so for
right.
me, I like to talk to everyone. Like, I want to be on good terms, and I want to know how they're feeling and how they think the team is performing, because
Yeah.
I only see the team through my eyes and I want to know what the other 20 plus guys think.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be tough to be a captain of that many guys in a physical sport like that because some guys are just having bad days. The girlfriend dumped them, had a bad test grade. They had a rough night's sleep, nightmare. Somebody's sick in their family. There's so many things that could go on
Mm-hmm.
that could affect them on the ice.
Correct. Yeah. The older I get and the longer I spend in hockey and in this game, I realize that I think when I was in college and high school, I was a little overzealous because like you said, I expected guys to be at their best every day, and some days there's just other stuff going
Yeah.
on, and it's not anyone's fault. It's just the reality of the situation, and so now as I'm getting into my later decades in hockey, I realize that you know just talk to them on the side or or
Yeah.
just let it go. You know what I mean? As long as some guys are, they get nervous in practice or like they're not great every day in practice, and some guys can turn it on for the game or they get
Right.
uber competitive at the end of the week. And so yeah, like I've found out that there's more guys who tick like that versus the guys who tick like me where, you know, I can't leave the ice until I've done what I want to do exactly. Like, oh, if I want to
Yeah.
shoot, if I want to score on 3 breakaways on the goalie, like I'm not leaving until I get it done.
Yeah. Now, I know hockey players, like all athletes do, but really hockey players, you guys have a lot of superstitions and traditions. What's yours? What are you doing before the game, after the game, or anything? What's your superstition or tradition?
Oh, I have a bunch. I'm super weird. So my pregame meal is always uh penne pasta, broccoli, grilled chicken, and like a little bit of like marinara Alfredo sauce. So like kind of
Oh,
like a
that sounds good.
no, it's yeah, it's great, but I'm like religious about it, and especially when we travel and being in Asia the past couple of years, it's been super tough to just get like, pasta, chicken,
Chicken.
broccoli.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But that it's a lot easier in North America. But yeah, I'm like religious about it. Even if people are staying with me or like I'll have visitors. Like I had a buddy come visit me when I was playing in Europe, and we have 3 or 4 games, in a week, and I was like, yeah, we're eating chicken and pasta and broccoli again. Like this is what we do. And then when I get dressed, I always put the left item on first. So like, left skate, left shin pad, left glove, left
Okay.
elbow pad.
Now, how did you figure that one out? Like, how did you start that?
I have no idea. I think I was watching some kind of, NHL behind the scenes thing, and they said that, Sidney Crosby does that. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that.
All right. I
Hmm
just, like you said before, find the people that do it the best and do what they do,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. And then
Now, how about, do you do anything post win or post lose?
yes. So yeah, well, honestly, after every game, I like to do like a cold tub. Like I really like the cold bath. I know some people don't, but it's not as luxurious as the hot tub. But I think the cold tub after a game is awesome. So I'll do like, maybe 5, 6 minutes and then jump in the hot shower, back to the cold tub for another 5, 6 minutes. But then if we win, I shouldn't admit this, but when we win, I'm a little less likely to go over the video after. But if
Okay.
we lose, I'm always going over the video and watching my shifts and, getting
All
ready for
right.
the next day.
Now, do you ever pick anything up from watching those videos? Like things you did right or wrong?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And so that's the thing. Like watching my own game tape for me has been huge in my development. Just because when you see it from a different angle, and at full speed, like you see what you should have done, what you could have done, and you start to pick up on the tendencies of the other team. Like I see if I'm going against this guy on this side of the ice, he doesn't like to hit as much, but on the other side, he always tries to go for the big hit. So yeah, there's a lot of things you can learn from watching the film.
Yeah. Well, I love what you just said. You watch your own game tape. If I use Tim and Bill, right?
Hmm
In our business, we're always about, hey, did you record yourself? Are you listening to yourself? Are you role playing together? Are you working on your craft? Are you working on your scripts? Are you working on it's always like, how do you get better? But you'd
Yeah.
be surprised how many people, Alex, they're afraid to do that. They're
Yeah.
uncomfortable. I don't want to see it. Oh, don't point that out.
hmm
Well, how are you going to get better?
Yeah, exactly. And it's for any, like you said, in any business, any walk of life,
Yeah.
any job.
Yeah. But in sports, like the world's watching.
Hmm hmm
I'm really happy you said that. So, what advice can you give to the young high school kids coming into college, the college grads coming into, let's say, like, well, you're not even in the real world yet. You're still in the having fun professional hockey world. But
hmm
the guys coming out of college, going into the next level of professional hockey, the struggle of that and the excitement of that, or hey, listen, getting ready for the next chapter in your life. What advice can you give to these young guys?
I think the biggest advice I want to give is start early. Like the onus is on you. Like take it upon yourself to start planning, start preparing. There's so many things you can do just from home. You know what I mean? Like obviously, yeah, you need to be strong enough and skilled enough at your sport and have to have good grades. But that's just the bottom line. Like you need to prepare. Like what schools you want to go to, what programs do you have, what kind of professors do they have, how big is the school? Like there's so many things you can do to figure out what you want. And then I'm also a huge believer in like if you want something bad enough, you're gonna find a way to make it happen. And so for me, like I always wanted to go play college hockey. And so, you know, the first couple, like I said, first couple years of high school, no one noticed me, got cut from teams, doing well, doing bad. Like it took so long to finally get on the radar. And then even then then you just get to the school. Even once you commit, then the work doesn't stop. And then the same thing, you just got to prepare early. Like you
Yeah.
said, transitioning after to pro sports, get on it early. Like what teams are doing well, what are the best guys doing. There's
Yeah.
I could talk forever about it.
I hope people who are listening heard what you just said. You said getting cut from teams. You've been actually cut from a team.
Yeah, a few.
It's off you. So, but from the regular listener, wait a minute, this guy played high school hockey, traveled around the country playing hockey, went to prep school for hockey, went to Cornell University, one of the biggest schools in the world to play hockey. He's playing professional hockey. What do you mean he got cut?
Yeah, so
How the hell did you handle that?
this is also kind of a funny story, but so yeah, I was when I was talking about those like travel teams,
Yeah.
14 under is a big year, and then 16 and under is a big year. And nowadays, I think they have just like 1 year per sport. But now, or back when I was playing, sorry, there was just 14 and 16. So when you're 15, you got to try out for the older, bigger, stronger team. And lots of 15-year-olds make that team. Like it's not crazy impossible because I mean, most people are finishing puberty and you're around the same size. And
Yeah.
but I tried out for the team and I didn't make it. And I go home and my mom's like, yeah, if you want, you can quit hockey. And I was like, I was furious. I was like, there's no way. Like, this is what I want to do. Like, I'm gonna,
When you're 15 years old, you're getting cut for the first time, I guess.
yeah,
That's got to mentally like just screw you up.
yeah, kind of. I mean, I was pissed. I remember just thinking it was wrong. I was like, I'm better than these guys. Like, why don't they see it? And and so yeah, like it took all some of the tryouts are in like April, May. So you have all summer and then you come back to start the fall season.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just remember like all summer, like that's what motivated me was to like, okay, I need to get better because I need to show these guys that I am better than these other players.
You're like Michael Jordan getting cut in ninth grade.
Kind of a little bit. It's a
Yeah.
very nice comparison.
And that's why I'm hoping that these young people who are listening is that you just never quit.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I like to say. It's like if you want it, you're gonna get it. You just got to keep working for it. And so many people are worried about, oh, I need to make the best team or I need to be, the best player on my team. It's like that doesn't matter, like you need to be somewhere where you're gonna develop and also you're gonna be challenged to work hard, like yeah, like the
Mm.
work never stops.
But do you think sometimes, Alex, when you say you go find a place to be challenged to work hard, do you think people have to want to be challenged
Yeah,
first?
definitely. Definitely. Yeah.
Because there's so many people, because there's so many places you can go to be super duper challenged. But
Hmm.
you find a lot of people who they kind of avoid that,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I mean,
you know?
like there's everyone just wants to be on the best team and be the best player, and it you learn a lot more about yourself when you're on the worst team and
Yeah,
things aren't going well. And it's same with thing in business and in jobs. Like there's so
yeah,
many times where yeah, things aren't going well. How do you handle it?
yeah. I think you will learn more through failure than you do success.
Yeah, 100%.
Success is a culmination of you and everybody else around you and it's the winning moment. But when you fail at something, you realize how much more you have to do.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then the choice becomes, am I willing to do it?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
And in sports, man, when you're failing and you're tanking and things aren't working, well, I need to be able to maybe a tenth of a second faster on the ice. I'm just making that up. I don't know.
Mhm.
I need to my goals, I need to score 72% of my goals versus
Mhm.
68%.
Mhm.
I don't know enough. Again, I know enough to be stupid, in hockey. But one quick question. I still can't figure what the heck, how do you figure out icing? You know, I every time how is that one that doesn't look like icing to me. Well, now it's icing. Like how is what's the rule on that?
Yes. So it's very annoying because there's like how do I say this? There are three different types of rules about icing. And so
Okay.
in youth sports, it's called automatic icing. So if a player shoots the puck down before the red line and no one can touch it and no one
Is the
interferes with
red
it,
line the midline?
yes, yeah. If the defending side player shoots it down before the midline in youth sports, it's automatic. Like, they blow the whistle, it's an icing. In in Olympic sports, They have, how do I even say this? And it's like they call delayed icing, I guess you could say. Delayed. Yeah. And so he shoots it down, but the other team has to skate down to get it,
Okay.
you know?
Before the goalie touches it,
Yes. Yeah. Like the if you shoot it from, it's all about shooting it before the midline.
right?
But in the Olympics, the guy just has to skate down and then they'll blow the whistle. And then in pro hockey in the NHL, it's a race. So you can shoot it before the midline, but as long as your team gets to the puck, I think it's
First.
before, yeah, before the dot, like the dot or those face-off circles. So yeah, as long as you get there first, then it's live. It's good. But it's crazy because it's a race. So that's the thing. Sometimes, the other side isn't ready to skate down for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they'll lose the race. And yeah, it's pretty wild.
Think about it. I'm not saying you're having a hard time explaining that. You're just trying to put it in English,
Yeah,
right?
well, yes, and
Yeah.
it's funny. It's funny because yeah, even only some of the professional guys will ever play in an Olympic setting.
Yeah.
So yeah, they don't
Yeah.
always have to know.
I'm like, how does the average fan supposed to figure that out?
It's tough, I was saying because since the hockey in Japan is a little less popular than other sports, I was kind of telling our team and our management like, we need to maybe put a rule book out or like we should do something on the jumbotron, the screens to show that, because some people don't know the rules and it's like it would be
Yeah.
nice and maybe helpful, to let the fans
Yeah.
know what just happened.
And what kind of crowds do you get there?
Our rink isn't huge. I mean, I think we hold like 2,000 people. Uh,
And you fill it up?
yeah, 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 yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
nice. It's fun.
how is hockey, taken over there? Like, are you like a celebrity over there? Like, how does that work?
I'd say a little bit. I mean, it's funny for me because I'm the tallest player in the league.
Okay.
But I mean, it's still serious. I mean, it's still pro. Like guys are obviously they're paid to play, but I mean, like these guys take it super seriously,
Yeah.
and especially in Asia, there's just such a devotion and loyalty to your team. Like they're so respectful and
Yeah.
they really care about their predecessors. And so, yeah, like obviously I have respect for all the coaches I've had, but our guys, like when the coach speaks, like they're dialed in
Yeah. They're
100%.
locked in.
Yeah. And, the pro hockey in North America is, I think, a little different just because it's so big already. And, in my experience, like in the minor leagues, you can get called up, sent down, cut,
Yeah.
traded, signed, extended. Like there's so many different things. Here.
Traded 3 times in one day.
That is true. I did get traded 3 times in one day. But yeah, no, but
So,
Japan is fun. It's really cool.
how is the language barrier with, do you have a Japanese coach who speaks English too, or?
So yeah, my first 2 years we had a Canadian coach. So
Okay.
like the primary language of our team was English.
All right.
But we still had a number of Japanese players who didn't speak English. So we have an interpreter, but we also like it kind of comes down to we have 4 or 5 guys who are bilingual and they'll translate. Like the coach will be up at the board, he'll say it in English and then they'll say it in Japanese.
Okay.
But this year it's totally different. We have a Japanese coach and he doesn't speak English. So the primary language of the team is English, or sorry, Japanese, I should say. And so
Right.
yeah, everything is in Japanese. And then one of the assistant coaches speaks both, so he'll translate for me. And then this year we actually have a new player who's Korean, and so his English is okay, and his Japanese is getting better because Japanese and Korean are super similar. But
Okay.
basically, like we sit together for the meetings, and then the head coach will say something, and then the assistant coach like whispers in our ear like what he just said in English.
Now, are you learning Japanese at all or no?
I'm trying. It's
It's
definitely more
tough.
it's way more difficult than I thought it would be. But my first 2 years, I didn't really need it, and so I just picked up little things. But now this year, I'm really putting in a solid effort to try and learn.
That'll look good on your resume.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully, I could use it somewhere.
So, and any specific setbacks you had, and any type of major injuries over the last couple of years?
I've had a couple. I mean, when I was 19, I tore my labrum in my left shoulder, and so that required surgery, and I was basically out for like 6 months. And
Wow.
yeah, and that was in that time period, like after boarding school, but before Cornell. And so, yeah, that was super tough just because, I'm taking this, these gap years after high school to prepare for college for D1 sports. All my other friends are just at college, partying, having fun.
Yeah.
And, I'm in a sling. So it was tough to, not to, I would say to like have fun, but it was just kind of difficult to remind myself like, hey, like I'm on a different path. Like I need to be diligent about my rehab. I need to, make
Yeah.
sure that I'm eating well and exercising as much as I can. Cause yeah, honestly, I did a ton of biking, but I couldn't really run because like I didn't have much mobility in my arm and shoulder. So yeah, I was on the bike almost every day. And then yeah, it's just, doing what you can to still have fun and still be a kid, but
Yeah.
also, diligent about the rehab.
Yeah. So how many years have you been playing hockey altogether? From little league stuff all the way up to now.
The first they call it mite, and when you're a mite, it's 5 and 6 years old because squirt is 8. Yeah. So since I was 5 and I'm 30 now, so yeah, I'd say 25 years.
25 years. How the hell do you stay motivated? Because you got to stay in great shape. You
Mhm.
like, right? I mean, again, people don't get it. There's a lot, all that up and down, up and down, up and down, especially if you're a forward, you're constantly moving,
Mhm.
right? But how do you stay motivated and resilient through all these years of getting your head beaten in a very demanding physical sport?
Yeah, I mean it's just passion, it's love for the game, like I said, like, I find the biggest thing for kids these days is it's so hard for them to figure out what they want, like they see on
Yeah,
Instagram and they see on TikTok, like they're like yeah, it's cool now that the world is more open, you can do almost anything, you could travel, do so many different sports, so many clubs, so many things. And so yeah, like it's hard for them to figure out what they want. But I was very lucky, like from a young age, like my parents gave me a hockey stick and they were willing to sacrifice their lives to drive me to the rink. And I'm crazy about it. It's, it's probably, it's the first thing I really loved, and I'll love it for my whole life. And so for me, it's, every year it's the new season, and so I hope I could play as long as I want to. I hope, I'm not forced to retire by anything
well,
or
you can always come back and play in the Smoking Joes.
yeah, exactly. I could play we call it, that's called the Tomb League, Twin Oaks Men's B, the Tomb League.
That's where you guys all go to die.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So how much longer can you keep playing? What's the plan?
So right now I'm working on the plan. Right after I went to Europe, I started doing some internships like every summer, and
Okay.
just to get some work experience because yeah, like I played for 3 years in the minors in the States after college. And so I was okay, like I really need to get something on the resume and some business experience. And then now I'm on my third year in Japan. So I mean, I would like to play another couple years. I mean, we'll see how it goes. Uh, every summer, I like to kind of network and at least, reach out to a lot of people and see where they're working, what industries they're doing. Because for me, I don't know exactly what I want to do. I'd love to get into business. I love finance. Uh, I honestly even like marketing and PR. Like I honestly, I'm kind of raw. I don't have any
Yeah.
specific thing that I want to do yet. And so yeah, like I was saying earlier, like I need to figure out what I want to do, and then
Right.
I can make a better decision. But I think
Yeah,
I've
I got a great idea for you.
hit me.
Is writing a book,
Yeah.
okay?
Hmm.
Because your experience, think about what you just got finished talking about for the last hour and 20 minutes, is 5 years old, 25 years playing hockey. But you've developed through the little kid leagues, through high school, through prep school, through
Hmm.
major college, professional, and there's a lot of guys that would probably want, what's that like? What do you have to do? Maybe there's a book you can write inside of you that can be a how-to type of thing and what to expect type of thing, or
Yeah.
just your story about traveling the world playing hockey.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a
Probably
lot of
should.
young guys that would probably want to read that.
Hmm. True. Yeah, that's very true.
And in that book, you can talk about the ups and the downs,
Hmm.
and how to overcome it. And like some of the things that have come out of your mouth have been incredible, and I think the young athletes need to hear that stuff,
Yeah. No, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
you
Honestly,
know?
I haven't thought about that one, but
And you and you call it Smoking Joe,
Smoking Joe.
right? That's the name of the book.
That would actually be
Smoke
fantastic.
Smoking Joe, you know? So so how about this? How about this? You're coming to you're at the tail end, the twilight of your career. Would you agree?
Yes.
So what's going on mentally for you? What's going on next step? I know you just said, hey, you're doing some interest, but are you prepared for that day when it's over?
Yes and no. I would like to say and like to think that I've put myself in a really good position to transition after hockey, and that kind of goes back to putting the onus on myself and starting early, like doing those internships. Like I did that in 2022 and actually it was 2021, 22, and 23. So yeah, I did three different ones. And, you know, I think because I started early and because, I went to Choate, I went to Cornell, I've played professionally, I've networked, like I've done a lot of the work to hopefully set myself up so where when I feel like I'm done with hockey, I'll be able to hopefully land a job, do well in interviews, and hopefully find something that I really want to do and be passionate about. But the transition has been hard. I'm not gonna lie. Like every summer I come home and all my friends are working, so I'm not on the same timeline, same social schedule as like any of them, because
Right.
every day in the summer I'm going to the gym and going to the rink, and these guys are at 9 to 5 or however you want to call it. Like they're busy
Yeah,
and
but
they're
they're looking at you and say, man, I wish I had his life.
yes, exactly. But but then I look at them and I'm like, damn, like they have health insurance all 12 months. That's pretty sweet. So there's just so many other little things that go into it, like and now that I play abroad, I will say the moving is getting to be a lot. And so like as I get older and now I'm in my 30s, I want to start a family. It's
Yeah.
not really feasible to move away to a foreign country every August and come back every
Yeah.
April.
Well,
So
speaking
yeah,
of that, I just heard that when Bill was saying, hey, you got engaged. Congratulations.
yes, thank you very much. Yeah, honestly, I should say it's the best part about my time here in Japan is
So
that
you met a Japanese woman?
yes, yes,
All right. I'm gonna
yeah,
guess she speaks good English.
very, very. She's been my number one translator since I got here. She's
Oh,
amazing.
I was hoping you were gonna say she's your number one fan.
She actually wasn't too into hockey. Like she didn't really even know it existed. But this is a weird factoid. But so after the '98 Olympics that were in Japan, they had this super famous Japanese soap opera on TV, and it was about a hockey star,
Okay.
and it's filmed at my team's home rink, and
Okay.
star player is number 9, and
And
I
you wear number 9.
exactly, yes. And so yeah, like her whole family thinks that it's fate because it was like her favorite show growing up as a kid. And so yeah, like
Really?
yeah, so yeah, yes, they're very happy that, we've got engaged and that everything is gone so
All right.
well.
So now here's the question then. Maybe I shouldn't say this on the air, ask you this on the air, but do you stay in Japan and grow a family or do you come back here?
That's the question I ask myself almost every day.
Yeah. Well, what does she want to do?
She's open to both. I think she actually would prefer to live in the States. So
Okay.
she went to college in California,
Oh,
and
good.
she also went to an American school here in Japan, like for
Okay.
elementary and high school. So yeah, that's how she knows English so well. But the biggest thing right now is that in Japan, the salaries aren't great. So I think, if we live in the US, there's better work opportunities. But also on the flip side, like everything is much cheaper in Japan, in Jersey, New
All
York.
relative, right?
Yeah, exactly. Everything's a little more expensive, but we'll see. Like I'm kind of taking it year by year right now, but like I said, in the summer I always kind of check in with some of people in my closer circle, and if the right opportunity presented itself, and then there was a company that wanted me to be a part of it and thought I could help out, and I could add some value to, I would have to I'd really think about it and probably do it.
All right. So, I coined this phrase a while back. I don't know where I didn't invent anything. I shouldn't say I coined it. I stole it from somebody, you know, that athletes die twice. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time they die, it's the last time you're going to put the skates on. For me, last time I put the football helmet on, whatever sport you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very difficult because that's your identity. 25 years as a hockey player. You're known as a hockey player.
Mm-hmm.
That's your job, a hockey player. When
Mm-hmm.
you went to college, you were a hockey student. You weren't a student hockey player, right? When you were in high school, you were hockey. Like
Mm-hmm.
everything's hockey, hockey, hockey.
Mm-hmm.
And even your dad hockey, everything's hockey. So how are you going to handle that when you're taking the helmet off for the last or the skates off for the last time?
Yeah, I've been trying to remind myself that, athletes are more than just their sport.
Right.
Like there's so many lessons and so many things that I've learned from this game that are going to help me in my next career. And so that's why obviously it's so sad to have to stop playing hockey and when I finally do retire or die as we're talking about here, it's sad, it's awful, but
Yeah.
the way I look at it is like my dream was to play professional hockey, And so basically for me, like I'm getting to start a whole new life. Like everything
Yeah.
I've ever hoped and dreamed has come true. So now
Yeah.
anything on top of that is just a bonus. So yeah, I feel super fortunate to be able to have played pro hockey for so long and met so many great people and learned so many things. And so now for me, the rest is just gravy.
So what are you going to take from hockey into your next career?
Ooh, definitely the teamwork aspect. I
Mm,
find that so many people nowadays are hard to work with, And so yeah, like if you're a good teammate and a good team player, that goes so far, especially in business and
yeah.
all jobs really, And so I think the teamwork aspect, the communication for me, like these past 3 years in Japan, like trying to communicate with someone who doesn't speak the same language as you is so challenging, but it's also so rewarding when you
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah.
And so
Have
yeah, like
you have you seen those things you could put in your ears now that translates the language?
yeah, yeah,
You got
oh
to get
yeah.
those.
Those are a little expensive for the grits budget, but I would love to have those. But for me, it's like learning how to communicate with people, and whether it's someone who's stubborn or someone who doesn't speak the same language as you, like there's so many people come from so many different walks of life. So it's important to figure out how do I talk with this person? How do I talk with this
Yeah.
other person? And so I think the communication and the teamwork are the two biggest things I'll take with me.
Communication, teamwork, but this kind of goes with it, but it's relationships.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just think of the what we I call the relationship capital that you've built up over all of these teams and schools and years. The
Mm-hmm.
relationships that you have throughout the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, hey, it's just like Northeast United States. It's the world. You have relationship capital that you can tap into
Mm-hmm.
for all kinds of things.
Yeah, no, that's very true. No, and that's an important one too, just because, and as we talked about it a little earlier too, but the world is so global now. Everything is international, and so yeah, like
Yeah.
there's plenty of people here I met in Japan who went to Cornell, or like I see people walking around in Yokohama wearing New Jersey, like Jersey Shore T-shirts, and I'm like, this is wild. It's hilarious.
Jersey Shore, Seaside Heights.
Hmm. Pump those
Oh
fists.
my, oh my God. So how many games you got left?
We have 14 games left in our season. We only do two per week.
Okay, so
And then
t
and
so
then
two games per week.
there's an Olympic break in February where like the national teams like Korea and Japan, they'll do like a short tournament.
Okay,
Yeah, so we have a
so you'll be done like I think you said before, like late March, April. You'll be
Yep.
done,
Yeah,
and
two more
and
months.
that's in your off season. Do you come back home?
Yeah. Always come back to New Jersey.
Okay, and your fiance,
Hmm.
she come back with you?
So last year she stayed here and then
Okay,
I came back to Japan one time, and then we took a trip together as well over the summer.
okay, cool,
But yeah,
cool.
this year we're figuring it all out right now because
Okay,
just on the travel visa she can stay for like 90 days, but then we're
right.
also figuring out where we're gonna work and what she's gonna do.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're working out all the finer details, but I'm
Who
I'm
who
hoping
counts
that
the days? Who counts the days for a travel visa? Like, is there somebody following around? So that's 90, that's 85. You only got a certain number left.
yeah, you got two left, make them count.
Do they do that? Like, how do they count? How do they know? Just the date on the passport?
So I will say we have a little bit of experience because when she was in college, they call it an overstay. So
Okay.
yeah, like no one checks up on you, but then when you go back to the airport and they see your visa and they're like, "Oh wow, you stayed 92 days." Like that's called an overstay. And then
And
so
what do
you're
they do?
they stamp you and then you're deemed like untrustworthy in the eyes of the US government. So yeah, like if you apply for a future visa, that can hurt you.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I
Hmm.
thought you might just like pay a fine or something and you're good.
They might have fines now, but yeah, like 10 years ago when she was in school, yeah, she had an overstay. And so yeah, like she wasn't allowed to ever they have like a visa free travel program with Japan and the US, so she was ineligible
Yeah.
for that program. And so now anytime she wants to go to the US, she has to apply for a visa, which isn't tragic, but
Okay.
there's a
Well,
there's
once
a
you get
little
ma
bit of
when,
punishment.
and once you get married, that's all over with.
Exactly. I'm hoping the green card arrives and then we can do whatever we want. That's
Right.
really the biggest part.
Now, how long is your off season?
So it's like mid-April to mid-August. So what's that? May, June, July,
So it's
August.
it's a good amount of time.
Yeah, it's like 3, 4 months. Yeah.
But you're working your butt off though to stay in shape, right?
Correct. Yeah. But then I actually have a nice side venture that I don't know if Tim told you about it. I was trying to get Tim involved as a sponsor, but I started a summer hockey league strictly for pros and D1 college guys.
Okay.
It's
Now,
called
where's that?
we play at a Prudential Center. So Prudential Center has like a practice rink that has maybe room. They have bleachers, so it's maybe like I don't know, 200 seats ish.
Okay.
And so yeah, it's been super fun, and it's called the Jersey Pro League, and we just play 4-on-4. So hockey is normally 5-on-5 plus each goalie, and so we play 4-on-4. So it's way faster, way more open, and honestly, it's a great skate to do. It's a much
Yeah.
better than the beer league with the Smoke and Joes.
So yeah, so you have to either be a current or former professional hockey player or did you say D1 player?
Yes, yes,
So you can't be like D2 or D3.
no,
All right, so it's exclusive league.
yes, and but it's been really fun just because like honestly I started the whole thing and I put it together, and it's great to bring the best players together from like
Yeah,
an athletic perspective, but for me
sure.
the biggest legacy I hope the league leaves is that it's all this New Jersey networking, like
Yeah.
I
The
urge all the
relationship capital.
yes, exactly. And
Yeah.
so I'm always urging the guys like, hey, like stay in touch with guys, like get everyone's number, like make sure you're talking to everyone when you show
Yeah.
up. Like don't just come like obviously, yeah, it's a great workout, a great skate, but you can gain
Yeah.
so much more from it just from meeting everyone else.
How many guys are in the league total?
So right now we have about 60,
All right.
four teams of 15.
And what kind of sponsorships?
I try to have one company sponsor each team just to get a team name, and then that helps
Yeah.
bring the cost down. If the sponsors are willing to give a little bit of money, they can write it off, and then I can
Yeah.
give the guys less.
Yeah. How much are the sponsorships?
Usually around like 2,000, 3,000.
Okay. That's not bad.
No, yeah, exactly. And it's fun. You
And
name the team after you. You can follow along. We stream all the games on YouTube.
yeah.
It's super fun. And then actually, I should say last year we started like a club division. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like it's a totally separate side of the league, but it's for all like college club and kind of
Yeah.
like high school players who don't want to play Division 1 or Division 3 in college. And so yeah, that actually has grown quite a bit because there's so many guys home for the summer who want to play, and they don't want to play in the old men's league. Like they want to play with kids their own age.
Yeah. They don't want to play Smoke and Joe stuff.
Yes, exactly.
But that's pretty cool. We got to talk to those guys about sponsorship,
That
you
would be
know.
cool. Yeah.
Now, do they get to pick the players if they sponsor the team?
If those guys are involved, I think I'd have to make a special allowance there. They could draft whoever they want.
You get everybody up on the line. I'll take you. I'll take you. I'll take you.
A live
Yeah.
draft, that would be big for the league. We'd have to televise.
Can you do that? That would be fun.
We could. I mean, traditionally, so it's pretty new. I just started this a couple of years ago, and
All right.
so I've tried to, because some of the guys try to strong arm me. They're like, "Oh, like I carpool with this guy, or he's my friend.
Yeah.
I have to play with him," and they've threatened to go on strike if I don't let them play together. But the same four teams have been around the past 3 summers, and so the
Okay.
group, there's a little bit of movement, but not much. It's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
But I
Now,
would
do you
love
want to expand to more teams?
I would love to. Yeah. I mean, we're especially the club side will get bigger just because I think hockey's growing in Jersey and there's a lot
Yeah.
more kids who want to do that. the pro side, like our pro division, we're just limited by, the amount of people that are even around. And some of the
There's so many
better,
around.
yeah, and there's some of the better guys, like a lot of the NHL guys, they're not skating as often. Like you said, their seasons are longer. They play 80 plus games, and sometimes, they go to Minnesota for the summer, or they got a
Yeah.
week
Can you get
out.
retired guys?
I could, like, they would definitely be good enough. It's just,
Get Kenny Danico out there.
well, I should get Caden, honestly. Caden would be perfect.
Yeah. I mean, he's only 26,
Yeah, and then he's like
you know?
recently retired. Yeah, he would be good for
Yeah.
it.
26, 27, and he's in good shape.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where do you know where he lives?
He lives in Montclair,
Oh, that's easy commute to
right
work.
there. It's
Mm-hmm.
right there. You know what I mean? But yeah, he works his butt off here, so he does a great job for us.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
but Alex, man, this has been a ton of fun.
Yeah. No,
You
thank you.
know,
This has been
yeah,
fantastic.
this has been great. Is there anything we haven't touched on or talked about that you think we should hit before we wrap it up?
Mm, let me see. Let me check out my notes here. Uh, I would like to talk about quickly, maybe just, the pressure of performing at that level.
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't think enough people talk about that. And I don't know, just off the top of my head, this is a super simple technique, but like obviously, yeah, there's pressure every day, practice games, pressure to succeed, pressure from your family. There's pressure all over. But when I go into a game, like I try to just focus on two or three things, like specifically that I'm going to do that will bring me success. And so
Mm,
I started doing that. We had a mental performance coach when I was in the minor leagues in the States in Indianapolis. His name was Vince Maltz, also from New Jersey. And he was saying, yeah, like the human brain can only focus on so many things at a time. And so, it's
right.
you don't want to be overloading, but like when I go into a game, I'm thinking I want to shoot everything, I want to hit everything, and I want to move my feet. And if I do that, I'm going to have a good game. And like when I started doing that, like I started seeing a lot of success in my pre-game preparation and game
Cool.
results.
So when you say hit everything, what do you mean? That mean checking people and that kind of
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah. Because yeah, sometimes as a person, an offensive player, like I want to score, so sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe if I just try to poke it by, or I try to like just gently go at him, like maybe I'll get it. But if you're physical, more often than not, you're going to cause a turnover and be able to go the other way.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You know what? That's I really like that you brought that up because that's in any profession, right?
Mhm.
And it's you can't take on too much too quick or too
Exactly.
much at all over time because it's what's that scenario? Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
Exactly.
and in a sport, all the sports now have come to the point where everything is so specialized.
100%.
And if you look at like lacrosse, like I'm learning a little bit about lacrosse where like the guy who's do the face-offs in the beginning,
Oh,
that's all they
go.
do. That's all
Yeah.
they do. And they run
Win
off
it.
the field.
Yep.
You're like when you're watching the game on TV, like you don't really notice them just running off the field. And like, wait a minute, where'd he go?
Yeah.
But that's all they do,
You can
you
get a
know?
full ride to college for being a
Yeah.
face guy.
Yeah. So there's so many, and I'm watching college wrestling now, which is kind of cool,
Hmm.
and I'm learning a little bit more, even though I always say I know enough to be stupid about all sports, but just seeing what some of these guys, like this guy's like the top 10 takedown guy in wrestling in the country. He wins the most 10. Like, how do they track that? But
I
some
know.
guys are just super good at takedowns.
Hmm.
Like for you in hockey, there's so many things you can be great at but you can't be great at everything.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and I really think, like you said, when you have that confidence and you know that, hey, these are the traits and the skills and the things I do that make me great, that really alleviates all the pressure, and it really helps tune it out, block all the noise, and then you can just, go about yourself and go about the game.
I mean, again, it's like I said before, the things that keep coming out of your mouth, should be part of the book.
Smoke and Joe.
You just said when you have confidence, it eliminates the pressure.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, but sometimes, well, how do you eliminate the pressure of wanting the confidence?
uh, I think that comes from the work, but figuring out what's going to make you confident. Like, hey,
Yeah,
like if I worked hard at these things, I think these things are my best skills and traits, then you're not worried about, oh, I feel confident? Am I good at this? Well, like, then you get out of your head when you're like, hey, this is what I got to do. It's this simple,
Yeah.
simplify it, be consistent. That'll lead to the results.
What about coaching? You ever want to be a coach one day?
I think I would really like it. I mean, sometimes in the summer, I'll volunteer with like Chatham Youth Hockey, or even I was giving some like private lessons to, some of the high level kids in from Chatham or from New Jersey in my area.
Mm,
And yeah, I love coaching. I would just say immediately, like when I get out of hockey, I would love to try something else. And just more so just because it's new and and it's different,
yeah.
and I think I could learn a lot more doing that. Like I think I'll always be a hockey guy and can always
Yeah.
go back to coaching, but at least in the short term after retiring, I think I would like to try something else.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure no matter what you do, one is one thing I do notice about you throughout this entire conversation, I would say 98% of the time you have a smile on your face,
Hmm.
which means you're enjoying life.
Hmm.
You're enjoying who you are and where you're at in life and what you're accomplishing, knowing that everything you've done so much at such an early age and you have so much time in front of you to do
Hmm.
so many more things.
Hmm.
And I think hockey is going to help propel you to that next level, even though it might not be hockey,
Yeah, very true. Yeah, thank you.
you
I
know,
appreciate it. That's kind of how I
which
try
is,
to live every day.
yeah. Oh, it's obvious. It kind of oozes out of you, you know, and that's why I think if you write that book, I'll keep bugging you on that. I think that could lead to maybe your next chapter.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very good point. I think I'm gonna think I'm gonna I actually know a couple guys who have written books, so I think I'm gonna reach out to them about that. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, read their book and see what's happening. You might say, "Hey, wait a minute, that book stinks. I can do better than that."
Well, yeah, the one off the top of my head, it was a little boring and just like basic, but I think,
All
I can
right.
spruce it up a
Well, there
little.
you go. You're learning from them. Reach out to guys who have done it and learn and do it better.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because your story will be fun to read.
Hmm. Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
and maybe your story does become a movie.
Wow.
It could be a movie. It could be a
Yeah,
movie.
that would be fantastic. Oh my
Your
God.
fiance will be like, "Well, great. I'm gonna be in a movie. This is great."
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, listen, Alex, this is awesome. Again, I appreciate your time. It's been a lot of fun, and if I can help you in any way, feel free to reach out,
Mhm.
and but definitely when you come home in the spring and summer, you got to
Mhm.
come by the office,
Oh,
you know.
100%.
Yeah.
I think I actually, I have to do that. That's on the
Yeah,
books.
and we'll catch up, we'll have some lunch or what have you, and have some fun, you know.
100%. Thank you so much, Jeff. This is awesome. So
Oh yeah.
glad you're doing this and helping so many people.
Yeah, well, it's my pleasure. And stay healthy. That's I say to all the athletes that are still playing. Make sure you stay healthy. Go win that championship. I don't know if they call it a Stanley Cup, but bring that cup home.
100%. We're on it. Bringing it to Yokohama.
You got it.